Cloud Show.
Welcome to the Kimberly Cloud Show. I'm your host, Kimberly Cloud, and I interview industry changers from across the globe about their past, present, and futures in business, innovation, and life. There's no guest scheduled for today, so me and my producer will be discussing the latest innovations in the industries to keep you up to date. Let's chime in. Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Kimberly Cloud Show. I am your host, Kimberly Cloud. Today, I wanted to explain and paint a picture. The stories that I get come off of Fox News, so I just wanted to jump in there and say that they're verifiable. And this particular event or thing to come by 2030 is called Stargazer. And Venus Aerospace, a Texas-based company, is pioneering revolutionary hypersonic jet named Stargazer, capable of flying from New York City to London in under an hour. A journey that traditionally takes about 7 hours. What is your input on it, Nathan?
Oh, I am a big airline traveler. I got family family that is pilots and family across the country. And so I'm always flying to places like Cincinnati, and I've been to the Philippines before internationally, and got family in Boston and Alaska. And as a tall person, especially, staying on an airline for 5 or more hours can be quite cramped, since I don't want to, pay the extra upcharge to get the premium or first class seats with more leg room. And having faster flights will definitely make it easier on my knees and overall just patience as the flight goes on. So having better options for supersonic flight would be really good. So tell us a little bit more about what that supersonic aircraft can entail.
Well, this innovation is a cutting-edge propulsion system that combines rotating detonation rocket engine, RDRE, with a ramjet. And I guess that's where the sonic booms come in at, because of this detonation of rotating rocket engines. So this design allows for the engine to function seamlessly from takeoff to hypersonic speeds without relying on complex mechanical systems. Expected to reach speeds, I told you speeds of Mach 1 earlier, but it's actually speeds of Mach 6, traveling approximately 3,600 miles. Now, this aircraft that they want to have done by 2030, it actually houses only 12 people, and it's going to be a great aircraft to bring to the system. They're trying to get it together, getting all the finishing touches together and test, a little bit more. But I think that this is going to be an amazing thing.
Oh, for sure. And where did you say that this aircraft flies? Is it within the atmosphere, or does it leave the atmosphere and go into outer space?
It leaves all the spheres and go straight outer space, like I want to say between the space station and Earth.
Okay, so it's without any air, so it'll not be in that part of the atmosphere that has air. Because the last attempt, well, I guess not an attempt, but the last installation of supersonic travel within aviation or public aviation was probably, I think, the USS Concorde. And the problem with that plane is that, it didn't go into outer space. It had to stay within the atmospheres, and it would create what's called a sonic boom. And due to regulations, the Concorde could only go supersonic when it was not above or within a certain range of land, because they're incredibly loud booms, and then they can shatter windows and stuff like that. So it was only allowed to fly supersonic over waters or international waters. Once it got over land, it had to go sub-supersonic speeds. So now that the plane is above the atmosphere, it cannot make that boom because that boom is transferred through the air.
Well, what I think they're going to do is I think that they're going to go to a special air station, if not this air station, like the airports, but they're going to have a separate one, or if they don't have a separate one, because what we go 500 miles per hour on a regular airplane, and we need
Mm-hmm.
to find somewhere for them to take off smoothly where they're just going up, 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 up until they get, because I don't know all the spheres, but atmosphere and all the other spheres till you get outer space. I think that that's what they're going to end up doing. But they're still trying to work out the problem with that sonic boom.
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem.
It is.
Yeah.
And they're even trying to do that with, aircrafts, like making them super long and thin or something like that for the aerodynamics. But it's just so hard to do that. And then really the size is what determines the sound volume of the boom. So if you make a bigger aircraft, it's going to make a bigger boom. Like, for example, when somebody cracks a whip, that crack of a whip is a sonic boom. Since the object is small, it's just like a little and then that's it. It's not very loud at all. But a big aircraft, especially if you're using it for public aviation, will generate a much louder sound force that is capable of causing damage to surface objects.
And that's the problem, the sonic boom. And I feel like they got different stations, places where they can do this. Like I'm pretty sure they're manipulating things where they're going to like the Air Force Station and testing it out where it's not that much that people that can hear the sonic boom. I think that it's a work in the making. I think
Mm-hmm.
it's a work in the making, and I believe in it because I want to see us progress. I want to see, and that's what made me, get into reading this article because you know to travel from New York to London in under an hour or an hour is a good thing. And I think that they're going to have to take a different route. I think that they're going to have to take a different route than regular airplanes. So, an airplane can pass by your house,
Mm-hmm.
but I think that they're going to have to take a different route.
And that's something that can be controlled by the Federal Aviation Administration. I mean, they're always controlling virtually every flying object. If you have a drone, you can only fly it in certain areas. And then once you get beyond that, then it's illegal to operate it because it's within the Federal Aviation Administration's airspace. So when you're talking about these stations and stuff like that, is it something where it's going to be like some sort of satellite up in outer space and then they sort of connect between those two satellites?
Could be, my friend.
Like,
Yes.
you take like a little rocket or whatever up into the satellite station or something like, the International Space Station. Of course, maybe this one wouldn't be, orbiting around the globe. It'll probably be stationary. But you go up to that, and then you, from there, take this special, I guess, spacecraft in this instance, where you go between those two stations in outer space to get to your destination faster. Like maybe, London or France has its own, and the United States has its own, or Russia has its own. And then you just kind of go between those, and then, I don't know, maybe between those two space stations, there's something that's transferring them between the ground and their terminal.
Yeah, and if it's still at the airport, then that's not going to be a good fit because when it has the sonic boom, when it reaches an altitude and has a sonic boom, then the glass is going to just shatter. Think about it like Final Destination, how when the airplane blew up, that was sort of like a sonic boom, and then the glass,
Mm-hmm.
the frequency or the basically the interference with the loud sound and then the waves hitting the glass. Yeah.
Well, the craft that's going from the ground up into the
Mm-hmm.
space, I mean, it doesn't have to be supersonic there. I mean, it only takes like maybe, especially if it's going straight up, maybe 5 minutes or less to get into outer space. And then once they break that atmosphere and there's no more air surrounding the craft, then it could, you know, change directions 90 degrees or whatever, and then start going towards its destination at those supersonic speeds without worrying about a sonic boom on the ground.
Yeah, because this aircraft in particular, the Stargazer, will have to reach a capacity of 11 and 10, well, 110,000 miles up. Now, a regular airplane typically flies between 30 and 42 feet, whether, and a helicopter flies between 20,000, and then, like you keep saying, as the air gets thin, so does if you don't have the right craft,
Mm-hmm.
it like if you trying to fly at 45,000 feet with a helicopter, it's not gonna work.
No.
You're gonna crash.
Well, you're just not going to be able to make it to that altitude.
True. Yeah.
You're not necessarily going to crash, but I mean, your helicopter would kind of bounce up and down because it's going between
Exactly
thicker
what I
and
was
thinner
thinking.
air. Yeah.
Yeah. And so 110,000 feet is above the all the spheres, and I think that it will probably be at 60,000 feet. Then it will probably be at 60,000 feet. They have a sonic boom.
Hmm.
Like, or the sonic boom will be right when you get to the atmosphere, and then to get through all of the spheres.
Yeah, so you
Yeah.
need to have no air because that sonic boom, it's created, and of course sound travels through air.
Hmm.
So if you have no air around you, there's no way for sound to travel.
Okay. And I just you got commercial jets and private jets that flow between the feet of 45,000 and 30,000 feet, and I just figured this is going to be for 2030. This is going to be a huge breakthrough because you got people wanting to innovate, so much, and it costs $33 million to actually um pay for it to get made.
Mm-hmm.
So that is going to be in the work, and they want to make sure that they're, and all they got all their kinks together, because if they don't have their kinks together, then it's not going to work out. But I figure maybe they don't do the sonic boom to the atmosphere, and that will make great for the because by the time you get to the spheres, you be done disappeared in the clouds by then, you know and there will be no need to worry about that. Or in between all the spheres, like in the middle of the spheres, you have you can do it then. It's just about getting the people there on time, and it'll
Not
take an
necessarily on
hour.
time, but quickly.
Quickly. Yeah,
Yes.
I like your maneuver
I
words.
mean, there could be a delay in the
Yeah.
takeoff or something like that
Yeah.
they just, but I mean, as far as like, I've been on flights that are like 12 hours long
Ugh.
and now it only needs to be 2 hours or something like that.
Yeah, I remember you were telling a story. I remember that one flight that I was on coming from Texas. They sat up there, and they had to delay it because the door was messed up and they had to get it fixed. I was
Oh.
like, wow. Yeah. I'm in love with airplanes. Ever since I was a kid, like I used to watch at Charlotte Douglas International. We used to go there at night and watch them just take off.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a beautiful thing to have that.
Yeah, there's so many things that can delay an airplane. Like one time I was down in Arizona, and you know how hot Arizona gets. Well, it was a particularly hot day, and then the flight wasn't going to leave because the air conditioning wasn't functioning. So it was really hot inside the aircraft. So anything can theoretically delay an aircraft these days, especially with how enforcing they are of the safety for the passengers.
That's true. And I wonder how much is that spacecraft going to be, that new craft that comes out in 2030 that we were just talking about, the basically, hold on, I'm sorry, I don't, Stargazer.
Mm-hmm.
How much is going to be per passenger? There's 12 passengers per aircraft, and how much is going to be for those 12 passengers to be able to travel the world like that?
Oh gosh, it's going to be incredibly expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be something more for probably world leaders to begin with, and transferring them, or of course the elite or the highly wealthy. And, one flight could easily be like $10,000 or more.
I agree with you. I agree. I think that those flights that are out now, because the flights that are out now can cost anywhere from maybe 500 on up. The possibilities are endless, especially if you're in first class already.
Mm-hmm.
So you probably, and so that we're looking at by 2050 then that we're going to see the majority of the population, like Tesla, and Apple, we're going to see the rest of the population using these crafts, which is a good thing. I wish it was a little shorter because I'm getting old.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what is your perspective?
I mean, I don't know if I would be willing to pay the price just for, like saving 80% of the time to travel. I would be willing to stay on a flight for, 12 hours if I'm going cross-continental, and then, pay more to save myself 9 hours or something like that. Because with my experience on the aviation, flying, especially to and from the Philippines, I took Korean Air on the way there and Japan Air on the way back. And it's like a cultural experience if you choose the right airline. You get to experience that culture. And really, it's almost like being a tourist in the air. So you wouldn't be able to get that with the flight that's on the Stargazer. Probably not. I mean, it would just be probably no amenities or anything like that. Just a quick get there and then land. So
that's true.
I'm going to miss that
for the elite,
cultural experience.
Like it is probably for the elite because you got people needing to be places at that time across seas that know people and have connections.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
And then, too, like if people are flying over just for a meeting, I mean, these days we can just hop onto a Zoom meeting or make a phone call. And I can't really see right now why it would be so urgent to, get something over there, unless it's for like shipping purposes. Like there is a sudden natural disaster or a crisis and they need emergency food or medical supplies that aren't available there, and they can, be able to provide that support quickly.
The next step is going to be FedEx doing that sonic
Yeah.
boom, doing that like the jet engines or the sonic boom jet engines or whatever. I think that they are going to be able that this is a game changer. And I get what you're saying because I was in Korea and I was able to fly like 14 hours and it was terrible. Because you're there sitting for most of the time, and then if you got to go to the bathroom, you go to the bathroom, but you have to sit, and
Mm-hmm.
it I enjoyed speaking to the Katuzas and everything while I was there. That was a culture shock. I loved it, every minute of it. The kimchi and everything. But
Mm-hmm.
you know, um, I feel like that the Stargazer will bring. It's a game changer because it will not only bring new aspects to what the companies that want to spread out even more to make more money is doing, but it's just innovation. It's at the right point. 2030 is like the right point because so many things, like people are coming out with robots or already have robots, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like this is the right moment, to see where it's going to head and where it's going to lead. Is it going to be a fluke? Are just the president's going to be able to use it? Who knows? There's a lot of people with money,
Mm-hmm.
and I just figure, they can use this aircraft and, for good. But that is a good idea, Nathan, like you said. That is a good idea to ship goods in under an hour.
Yeah.
You be shipping McDonald's. It's so many things you can do
Uh-huh.
from that. Go ahead. Go
Well,
ahead.
now your dollar menu is going to become a $5 menu at McDonald's if we start doing that.
Yeah.
But I just hope we don't have another. What was that? The submersible that went to try to see the Titanic and it ended up imploding. I just hope we don't have another instance of something like that happening. That it can be safe and for people to travel on and reliable.
That's true. That's true. I can't argue with that. It has to be safe and reliable. And it's a lot of things out here that are not reliable and safe, or not safe and reliable,
Mm-hmm.
or back and forth.
Right. Because if you're up in outer space, one wrong move and that could be going out into eternity.
Mhm.
Because just the way outer space works, there's no gravity, so there's nothing to. You could be in the orbit as well, but I don't know how that's going to operate with this craft.
I would like to see how it does, like for the people that, because once what happens is the IPO people put money into this, and they thoroughly check it, and I just want to see how much money gets put into this, like 33,000 to get it done, the job done, but how much money is going to be put into it so that it can, grow, the business, and everybody know about it. I just so happened to see this on Fox News.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see what happens. There's always been aviation attempts that, end up falling through or never get produced. Supersonic travel, everybody wants it. It's just such a tough thing to engineer with noise and safety and cost too, because it is really expensive to fly or operate an airplane, even if it's just flying over the oceans like the Concorde was. It was still incredibly expensive to provide the fuel and the propulsion for that aircraft.
That's another thing. I was talking about it with another gentleman, like to provide another what did you just say? What was it?
Fuel and propulsion?
Yeah, that's we need to find fuel from either somewhere else, or use they use some type of fuel that end up like getting like it just goes out quickly. The gases that they use just goes out so quickly.
Oh, yeah?
And we were talking about that. He was saying that they do have airplanes or jet engines that go 700 miles per hour, and he said that the they don't fly as long though as like an airplane.
Mm-hmm.
And I I agree. But we may need to start searching because there's rocks out here. There's stuff, asteroids that we can get stuff in. What's going on with Saturn? Saturn is a
Mm-hmm.
gas. It's so many ways we can pull new gas to us to test it out. You know.
Well, I mean, even modern aviation, they're just always calculating to, the 10th percentile or whatever for their fuel. I mean, every time you're weighing your baggage and then even your ID, why you provide your weight and stuff like that, is when you're boarding, they sort of guesstimate how heavy that craft is going to be, and then the distance, and then they provide the airplane just enough fuel to get to their destination and have a little bit reserve left over for emergencies. They're not constantly fueling that plane up to 100% for each flight. They're always calculating the minimum safe amount they need for that flight for, fuel conservation and efficiency.
That's amazing. That is amazing. Yeah, I didn't know that. I I I love to learn and I love to give out stuff. And yeah, I I figure they're he said that they're having a fuel issue, and they're looking into getting new gases, but they want to start, with the fuel that they have now, but it runs out of these jet engines too quick. And I was like, wow. So we have the universe to our hand, and we watch different planets. We should be able to actually try to get some type of material off that planet to help our planet if it's a dormant planet. Don't get me started. So we got 1 minute left, and I just wanted to say thank you, Nathan. So yeah, I just wanted to tell you guys, I hope that y'all enjoy Black Friday. I hope that y'all enjoy Thanksgiving. I hope that y'all take care, be safe, and it was a pleasure giving y'all information, and I will be doing this like this for a while. Thank you.